Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The major parties are trading blows with an early election a near certainty as potential candidates hit and political ambitions. Former Liberal MP John Tucker confirming he'll seek pre-selection for the Nationals, and a high-profile mayor isn't ruling out a crack either.
Taking the plunge into early election mode. The politically bruised Premier braving cold waters ahead of a likely winter showdown. The Liberals accusing Labor of being out of step on a proposed pay rise for politicians, which they say they don't accept.
It's taken this moment and this pressure for Mr Winter to finally come clean. We know that he was hoping to sneak this through.
Though the opposition says they're not comfortable with the salary increase either, opening up the government's old wounds on the Spirits of Tasmania fiasco.
Tasmanians will have a choice between someone they can trust to bring our spirits home, and Jeremy Rockcliffe, who's been trying to keep our spirits on the wrong side of the world now for more than 6 months.
As the tit-for-tat between the major parties rolls on, a former Liberal MP is seeking pre-selection with the Nationals after defecting from the Liberals.
My community has supported my family for generations, and we miss out greatly up here, and that's why I'm putting my hand back up again.
Tucker believes neither side understands regional Tasmania.
Everything seems to be very Hobart-centric, and that is a big part of the problem.
While another ex-Liberal is calling on Jeremy Rockcliffe to resign and Eric Abetz to take his place.
Someone with Eric's experience, his work ethic, and his knowledge would make a fantastic contribution.
As far as the Clarence Mayor's own ambitions in state politics goes,
you never say never.
Former federal independent candidate Peter George slamming Labor and the government on social media after last week's chaos, who's told 7 Tasmania News he isn't ruling out running either. While the Jackie Lambie Network's last MP says he won't contest the next election with the party after being disendorsed.
I feel a bit let down because obviously, I've always been loyal and faithful to her.
As an early ballot becomes increasingly likely, experts say it could prompt the major parties to rethink their policies, particularly on the budget.
The benefit of leaping out of the frying pan into the fire will be that both sides will have to re-evaluate the way forward as they see it.
So tomorrow we are expected to find out if Tasmanians will be heading to the polls early. For more, we're joined by state political reporter Anthony Dodd outside Parliament House. Anthony, the next 24 hours will be crucial.
They certainly will, Kim. The government is expected to introduce 2 appropriation supply bills in a special sitting of Parliament in the morning. The bills will ensure frontline service workers get paid, as the budget hasn't been passed and an early election seems likely. Those bills should go through after Labor and the Greens confirm they'll support them. If or when they do, Premier Jeremy Rockcliffe will then visit Government House to advise Governor Barbara Baker to call an election. Now, 7 Tasmania News understands conversations have continued within the crossbench, with attempts being made to void an early election. But we understand that's so far been unsuccessful. At this stage, the earliest we could be heading back to the ballot box is July 19. But as the old saying goes, a day is a long time in politics. A surprise turn of events could be just around the corner between now and tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out, Kim.
Anything can happen. Thank you, Anthony. Well, a contingent of frustrated MPs is demanding urgent talks with the AFL to discuss renegotiating the Macquarie Point Stadium deal. It comes as the Devils' entry into the league makes national headlines and questions continue to loom over the strict deadlines.
21 state and federal MPs from across the political divide, taking their fight straight to the AFL's man in charge. They've written to CEO Andrew Dillon, calling for a face-to-face meeting over the controversial stadium deal struck with the state government.
If they truly want Tasmania to have a team, they need to come to the table, have a conversation with people that care, and ultimately accept that they need to renegotiate this agreement.
The letter, spearheaded by the Greens, warns the almost $1 billion project could push the state further into debt, stating Tasmanians want and deserve a team, but cannot afford this additional stadium.
It's a case that the AFL is obliged to hear.
Tasmanians have waited decades for a Tasmanian team in the AFL. The AFL should be looking for ways to renegotiate here and work with the state to deliver the team.
if you wanted to point fingers, the AFL are the villains here.
The issue once again making waves in the footy world.
There is no other option at the moment because that is the contract.
No, I think I'm with Fags. I think it's ridiculous that you'd rather have not a Tasmanian team if it can't play out of a new stadium.
The current agreement sets strict contractual deadlines, including full planning and environmental approvals by June 30 this year, with the team due to join the competition in 2028.
It just feels outside looking in that timeline now is unlikely.
No, well, actually, we feel that the timeline is not unlikely at this stage.
The AFL was contacted for comment. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Launceston's longest-serving mayor, Albert Van Zetten, is among 18 Tasmanians honoured this King's birthday for their tireless work serving our state. From advocating for vulnerable children to improving regional health care and wildlife conservation, it seems our communities are batting well above the rest.
Dr. David Law was a little shocked to hear he'd been appointed a member of the Order of Australia for his service to public health.
I thought it was a scam, to be honest, so I deleted it.
Upon closer inspection, he realised it was legitimate. David worked as a regional GP before moving into urgent care, where he spent the last 35 years.
I'm very conscious of the sense of isolation that patients feel by virtue of the time of night or their geographic location.
The recognition also a shock for former Launceston Mayor Albert Van Zetten, who led the city from 2007 to 2022. Gifted an AM for his long-standing contribution to local government, alongside his work with City Mission. The Rehabilitation Centre Missiondale remains his proudest achievement.
Still hear stories of people who got drugs and alcohol issues in their life, and then they go through Missiondale and their life's changed.
Sandy Bay retiree and AM recipient Rosalind Cornish spent 40 years ensuring all children have the same opportunities to develop and learn, even taking her fight to Canberra.
The outcome of that is we have paid parental leave, which is fantastic, not just for women but for men as well. So I think that was a real positive.
Mary Cooliffe also accepting her medal for the Order of Australia for services to education. Her teaching career included helping refugee children adapt to life in Tasmania.
And you very quickly learn you're not teaching the subject, you're teaching the child, you're teaching that student, you're teaching that young person. So whatever they need from wherever they are to progress.
For Devonport OAM recipient Steve Martin, his Toast for Kids charity means thousands of children don't miss their most important meal of the day.
Over the last 13 years we've provided over 200,000 breakfasts for the local schools, about 16 schools. Plus we've developed and published a children's book.
Founder of Raptor Rescue, Craig Webb, also honoured for his dedication to wildlife conservation, while Commander Stephen Burke was awarded a meritorious award for his role with Tasmania Police. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Gone are the days of needing to huddle around the sidelines in the harsh of winter at Devonport's Valley Road Soccer Ground. Named in honour of strikers clubman Gordon Rimmer, a new $7.5 million facility includes seating for around 800 spectators, corporate boxes and new change rooms.
The facility now is absolutely fantastic. All levels of government combined to fund this project, so I've got to say we've been running very hard to get to the finish line, ready for today.
The marathon effort to complete the structure coming just in time for a bumper day of state finals action, and Nick Kelly will have those results later in sport. Well, Tasmania appears to be on a Lotto roll, with the Devonport man pocketing a share of Saturday's Division 1 draw. The retiree's $620,000 windfall comes just days after another Tasmanian took home a record-breaking $70 million jackpot. While the latest win may have come as a surprise, it wasn't a total shock. A palm reading in the man's youth predicted his later in life fortune, he says.
South Hobart have booked their ticket to the Australia Cup's round of 32, holding off South East United to lift the Statewide Cup this evening. While Devonport Strikers women show they're a force to be reckoned with, dominating their WSL rivals by winning the Statewide Cup again. Lifting the Statewide Cup for a second year in a row, Devonport firing on all cylinders for a full house in their new Valley Road stand, inseparable from South Hobart until the first break. Player of the match, Asuka Doyes, striking quickly in the second half. A nifty header from South's Jasmine White returned the favour just as quickly, but Doyes' second for the Strikers would prove a breakthrough. And while South would take their shots, they couldn't find the net. Before long, they'd find themselves down 4-2.
Knight, and it's a fitting of the finale, a flash dance for Devonport's Whitney Knight.
Young gun Grace Sims' second sealed the deal, keeping the silverware in Devonport for another year.
We were probably coming in not knowing what to expect from South and the pressure of trying to go back-to-back. But I think we composed ourselves really well and played some really nice football.
Focus now returns to the Super League season.
It's football, anything could happen. We'll go back, train this Wednesday and just focus on the rest of the year.
Up next, South Hobart got their shot of redemption in the men's Statewide Cup decider. Nick Morton seizing it with both hands.
And South Hobart respond. Who else but Nick Morton?
Finding the net on 3 occasions before half-time.
Ruthless, clinical and unstoppable Nick Morton.
After the break, though, South East United would keep them under wraps, giving themselves a glimmer of hope deep in stoppage time.
Through to Walsh, it's through to Brown, and he scored! And just when you think it's all over.
But it would come too late, South Hobart taking the silverware and the ticket to Australia Cup's round of 32. Wins against their Northwest rivals made the 4-hour drive home a bit sweeter for both men's and women's SFL sides. It's back to clubland now before they regroup to face the NTFA in a fortnight.
Come together a bit more, train a bit more together, and yeah, we're only going to be better for it.
Hopefully we can just really reset, do a bit more gameplay, a bit more structure involved.
Bryce Alones was the standout for the men, booting 6 goals in a dominant performance, while the women were just as impressive, storming to a 32-point win. And Tasmania's Cameron Worth has suffered another unfortunate mishap at the Eagleman 70.3 Ironman overnight. The 41-year-old picking up a drafting penalty, forcing him to spend 2 minutes in the sin bin.
As you're about to see, Cameron Worth, wah, wah, wah.
Despite the setback, he still finished 10th and has jumped up 6 places, now leading the men's Pro Series overall standings. And Kim, that's United Sport. Wah, wah, wah.
What does that even mean? Thank you, Nick. Kaya, Wix, or do you want us after the break with a weather forecast? Good evening. Hobart reached 13 degrees today. It was 14 in Launceston and 15 for both Devonport and Burnie. The islands also saw 15, as did Smithton and Friendly Beaches. Low Head and Bushy Park 14, 13 in St Helens and Strawn, Grove 12 and 5 in Laiwini. Convective cloud passed southern Tasmania, pushing along the east coast, bringing 49 millimetres of rain to St Patrick's Head near St Mary's in the 24 hours to 9 a.m. Cloud is seen here across the island and to the southeast of the mainland. Tomorrow the low will move further offshore towards the Tasman Sea. South-southeasterly winds 10 to 20 knots across the west. Southeasterly swells building to 2 metres in southern waters. Showery again in Hobart tomorrow, 13 also at Adventure Bay, with showers easing 2. A few showers in Tarraleah with just 9 degrees there. 14 and cloudy in Launceston and Bridport, a little cloudy too in Devonport, 14's the maximum. 15 and partly cloudy in Burnie, 14 and fine in Strawn and also Marrawall. A wet day across the east, St Helens 13, 14 the top for Swansea and Whitemark. Forecast now for Wednesday, areas of inland frost followed by light showers about the east, south and Bass Strait Islands. And inland frost on Thursday, but it will be fine and partly cloudy elsewhere, and mainly fine on Friday as we wind up for the working week. We'll take a look now at what we can expect across the mainland tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine in Sydney and Brisbane, a few showers in Adelaide 16, a shower or 2 in Melbourne with 14 degrees.
Showery across Hobart right now, 10 degrees, 10 also in Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport with 9, and that is all from me tonight, Kim.
Okay, thanks, Kaya. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Good night.